The destructive storm has claimed at least 9 lives and is still packing a punch. Right now, Puerto Rico is being pummeled by Hurricane Maria, and the Dominican Republic is next in her path. WJZ is tracking the powerful storm. Parts of the streets in Old San Juan are littered with debris. The storm tore off roofs and sent doors flying from their hinges. You can see the rain still coming down and the winds are still very, very strong. And check out this video shot from inside of a home in Puerto Rico. Roofs were rattling and trees swaying in those strong winds. WJZ has first warning weather coverage. David Begnaud is in Puerto Rico updating the damage from the storm. Meteorologist Tim Williams and McNamara are tracking the storm's path and impact. And Jonathan McCall speaks with people in the Caribbean experiencing the devastation firsthand. Let's start with David.
Hurricane Maria's winds made quick work of Puerto Rico's trees and roofs. Torrential rain has flooded streets. Maria made landfall early Wednesday on Puerto Rico's southeast coast as a powerful Category 4, then spent the day clobbering the rest of the island. With the storm still raging, few people ventured out. Debris flew past cameras, and signs were easy targets for 140-mile-per-hour winds. Part of the island may see up to 25 inches of rain, raising the threat of mudslides.
We can save lives.
Puerto Rico's governor, who went door to door yesterday, urging people to get to safety, says more than 7,000 people have gone into shelters.
I've passed through hurricanes, but this one, it's going to be very hard.
Evacuees in this hotel had to move downstairs into the lobby, then into an emergency stairwell. The power is out across the island, and there's no timetable for getting the lights back on. Maria may have been the final blow to the power company's already crumbling infrastructure. We're getting our first look at the island of Dominica, one of Maria's first stops in the Caribbean. The storm turned deadly there and has knocked out communications to the entire island. People are cleaning up on the island of Guadeloupe, where Maria also claimed lives and damaged homes. David Begnaud, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Our first warning weather coverage continues now. Meteorologist Tim Williams and McNamara are updating the storm's track and impact. And Jonathan McCall speaks with people in the Caribbean picking up after the storm. Let's start with Tim.
Well, you know, it's a region that's just been battered and just beaten by these storms. This is the second time that a Category 5 storm has made it this way in this month. So we're looking at the larger scope now. Very large storm again, still moving very methodically right on across the Caribbean. And what we're looking at here is this storm now downgraded to a Category 3 hurricane. But remember, it made Category 5 status as one of the now considered the 10th strongest storm on record in the Atlantic. The storm currently at Category 3 status as a hurricane, still considered a major hurricane with sustained winds at 115 miles per hour and gusts up to 130. It is moving to the northwest at 12 miles per hour and expected to re-strengthen after it leaves the land mass of Puerto Rico and starts to get back into the warm waters of the Atlantic. It's expected to re-strengthen again to a Category 4 status. Puerto Rico disrupted this storm enough. The land around Puerto Rico knocked the intensity down. So Maria definitely got downgraded, but is expected to strengthen again. Now, all of our models, the spaghetti models and the plots, have it moving up to the north and northwest, following the same path that it has already. Expected to move from Puerto Rico over toward the Dominican Republic. And there are hurricane warnings in effect now for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as well as parts of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Turks and Caicos. For more on the impacts of this monster storm, we're sending it over to Meg McNamara. Meg?
Well, thank you, Tim. So even we're starting to see the center of Maria move away from Puerto Rico. That does not mean that they are done with this storm. So you can see here, storm surge still expected on this southwestern side, 3 to 6 feet. If I step over here, you can see 6 to 9 feet still on the eastern side of Puerto Rico. And yes, it is now going to be taking aim at the Dominican Republic. They can expect storm surge of between 4 to 6 feet. And keep in mind, that would be on top of these very impressive rain totals that we're expecting. So 18 inches plus here over the center. But keep in mind, certain isolated places can expect up to 25 inches of rain by Friday. So really, really devastating amounts of rain. Obviously, we've already heard reports of flash flooding there because of these impressive rain totals. And we'll have more on Hurricane Maria and, of course, talk about what we're experiencing here in Maryland. That's all coming up in your first warning forecast in just a bit. Jess?
All right, Meg, thanks so much. First warning weather coverage continues now with Jonathan McCall, who spoke with people in the Caribbean assessing the damage after the storm. Jonathan.
They are definitely picking up the pieces, Jessica. Those people on the island of St. Croix say that the Category 5 storm slammed into the island, decimating it. Tonight, they say that the island is in desperate need of supplies immediately. Packing powerful winds of more than 140 miles an hour, Hurricane Maria brought her path of destruction to Puerto Rico this morning, ripping roofs, tearing trees, flooding streets, and forcing people to find sanctuary inside the storm. The entire country now in the dark from the powerful storm, but before unleashing her fury on Puerto Rico, the islands of St. Thomas and St. Croix stood in her path.
The roads are impassable. They're blocked by trees, by power poles, by power transformers.
Herb Schoenbaum lives on the island of St. Croix and tells WJZ that Maria has decimated the island. Still reeling from Hurricane Irma just a week ago, Schoenbaum says that cell and internet service on the island is spotty.
What the storm didn't destroy, the rain will.
These are just some of the pictures of the damage left behind. In main cities, Christiansted and Frederiksted, power is sparse.
The power company is going to need it. I would say 1,000 poles to restore the grid, plus a lot of wire.
And supplies are in great demand.
Whoever can come down here with some planes quickly and bring us the supplies we need.
Schoenbaum believes it could take months or even years for the island to fully recover from the storm.
Without federal assistance, things look very, very bad for St. Croix.
The American Red Cross is on the island helping people impacted by the storm. Shelters have been set up, now being run by generators, but officials are concerned for just how long those generators will last without the power. Reporting live tonight, Jonathan McCall, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Jonathan, thank you. And WJZ has what you need to know about Hurricane Maria. The storm is being blamed for at least 9 deaths. It's being called the strongest storm to hit Puerto Rico in 90 years. The power is out across the island. Cleanup is underway in the Caribbean now that Maria is starting to move out. And stay with WJZ for complete coverage of Hurricane Maria. Our first warning weather team will keep you updated on the storm's impact, along with the latest on where it's going next.